All right, so we have Ariel Lee today. Ariel is currently a professional cheerleader in her rookie season as a Top Cat. She's a proud UNC Chapel Hill grad, go Heels, and a full-time personal trainer at West Kept Secret in Charlotte. Her dream to become a professional cheerleader in the Carolinas originated when she was in college, and the journey to making the team was, as some might say, imperfect. I love that, by the way. After preparing for auditions with one-on-one sessions with yours truly, attending local pro prep classes, and asking veterans for feedback, her dream was finally realized when she became a 2023 Top Cat. Welcome, Ariel, to the Imperfect Cheerleader podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So I know just from working with you and being around you for a long time, I've learned who you are and the type of person that you are and where you come from. So I want to know, since making the team, the Top Cats for the Panthers, how has your life changed since becoming a pro cheerleader?
Oh, wow. That's a huge question. I feel like my life has got nothing but fuller in all the best ways. I know that the audition prep journey can sometimes be kind of lonely, especially if you're a professional and you're working a job where no one really like gets what you're trying to do on the outside. It's hard to not feel like you don't have like a connected dance network of people that are chasing the same goals as you. And since making the team, you kind of get thrown into a family that people have either been on the team for years and years, and then there's also other new faces like yourself, and everyone has been so welcoming. I feel like, your network instantly expands of friends, of people in different industries. And then you're spending so much time together doing rehearsals, events, appearances, and all of the good stuff that you imagine when you dream about being on a pro team.
So you've been enjoying it so far. I take it.
Oh my gosh. When I say like I posted on my Instagram like after one game, like a photo from a game, and I wrote like the only caption was it was all worth it. Because
Oh,
there are moments when like you're out there, like my journey was long, not as long as others, but definitely not short, to making it to this point. And sometimes you look back and you're like, it all makes sense, and it was all worth it.
yeah.
That
I
moment,
love it.
yeah,
Awesome. The work is worth it,
yeah,
right?
yes, absolutely.
So give us a brief synopsis of your approach, your journey. How did you start, and what even made you want to become a pro cheerleader in the first place?
Yeah, there's a lot of elements to it, but I would say when I was getting finishing up high school, thinking about college teams that I would want to be on, I got really intimidated, to be honest. I was looking at some of the requirements, talking to other girls that had been on college dance teams, and I knew like a local school near me had like an 8-minute mile requirement for fitness. I knew a lot of the college teams required a lot of tricks that I didn't know how to do, and I was like, all right, well, I can get it together. And when I tried to prepare for college dance team auditions, I got intimidated by the fitness aspect. I was intimidated by not having a competition background. And I kind of just prepped that summer between my senior year of high school and my freshman year of college. And then I just didn't audition because I got too scared. And then I think about my sophomore year, I considered auditioning for a college team again. And I talked to some girls that had been on the team, and they kind of talked me back out of it. So long story short, I ended up in the fitness industry. And once I did, and I kind of understood post college, we all grow up dancing and we're all doing our craft all the time and staying in shape that way. Well, you get to college and no one's telling you to do your pirouettes or to do kicks across the floor or teaching you routines. So I kind of navigated how to keep dancing with rec teams at school and work on my fitness in different ways. And I had talked to some girls that were like, I'm going to go to the Panthers prep clinic. And I was like, the Panthers? Like in Charlotte? And they were like, yeah, you should come. And I was like, oh gosh, no way. But the idea really excited me. After a lot of personal growth and understanding, myself and what was healthy for me, both body wise and mentally, through college, I realized I'm the only one that held myself back from having that game day experience from following my dreams of being on the sidelines and cheering on a football team, both in college and professionally. And I reflected and I was like, you know what? I held myself back when I was in college. The pro world is still out there, and this doesn't have to be where my dance career ends. I don't have to stop here. So that inspired me to go to a bunch of Panthers prep classes at the time, probably throughout my senior year. I graduated in 2020, so they didn't actually take new team members that year, but I did go to all the prep classes that they had. They usually had, Panthers specifically had 2 to 3, I believe, before auditions each year. And so then they didn't take a team 2020. I had some personal stuff going on in my family that caused me to opt out in 2021. I finally got my face in front of the judges in 2022, but it was a no for me that year. And then this year I came back. I kind of took a lot of feedback from the past year of auditions and came to you with that feedback saying, I know I need to work on X, Y, Z. I connected with a lot of vets on the team and said, hey, I know we all have a full plate at auditions, but is there any feedback that you could give me from last year that you noticed? So I really think that what shifted for me in the last year was saying, like, this is definitely something I want. I have been chasing it, but not necessarily with the same intention that I need to, in the same direction. And once I did, it all worked out.
Yeah, I love that story. It's definitely, like you said, not a perfect story, but I don't think anybody's story or journey is perfect, you know? Like there's always going to be some bumps in the road. And it happened when it needs to, right? And
Right.
like you said, it's all worth it. So I want to go back to you, you mentioned that the fitness aspect originally when you were trying out for college teams intimidated you, but now you're a trainer. So how did you go from being intimidated to fitness to being a trainer for West Kept Secret, which is, by the way,
Yeah.
the sponsor for the Top Cats? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So West Kept Secret is the official trainers of the Carolina Panthers Top Cats. Our CEO, Marissa West, actually was a Top Cat. But yeah, it's very interesting. I kind of put dance on the back burner. I started in college working at Lululemon, of all places, as like a college side job to make some extra money. And the expectation with them was that, like, okay, well, we're going to give you this employee discount on our clothes, and you're expected to just go and, go out to fitness classes and be out in the community wearing our clothes. So that's kind of how it started, very unconventional. And I went to a bar studio that had like a grand opening, fell in love with it, took there for a couple months. And I said, like, hey, would y'all like be interested in adding another trainer? I don't have any experience. You'd have to train me. But I really liked the way that it combined, that workout specifically combined dance, which had been something that had been a part of my life until college. Yeah. And it combined fitness. And over time, working in the fitness industry, I kind of got more education on what healthy eating habits are, what a healthy workout schedule looks like. But I had a lot of insecurities about the way that my body looked, the fact that I didn't come from a super active family. It's not like I like only cheered, only danced. So the idea of getting an 8-minute mile in order to cheer on game day was super intimidating. I would run on the treadmill. I kid you not, this is so unhealthy. Don't recommend it. But between my senior year of high school and freshman year of college, I would go to Planet Fitness of all places, and I would run for 6 miles every day, trying to like bump my speed up to get that 8-minute mile pace. Ridiculous.
Wow.
And yeah, but you don't know when you're doing that stuff, just trying to hit a certain goal, that you're probably running yourself down and making your body more tired and less able to perform when you're doing crazy volume like that just to fit a certain visual mold. I remember I did talk to a girl when I considered auditioning as a sophomore for my college dance team. She had transferred in from another school, and I said, like, I don't know, like, do you think I look okay? And she said, yeah, well, they're not going to let you embarrass yourself in a 2-piece. And that sent me, I remember it to this day. And I just was like, absolutely not. I can't. So it's just crazy how over time, what used to be where I was super self-conscious about myself was with fitness, now is like probably an area I don't think about as much because it's become so much of my lifestyle. And I think the industry has changed a lot too. I know specifically for Top Cats, from what I've, seen and observed with our team, is we are all prioritizing being healthy, whatever that is for us individually, and however best we can show up as performers and do our job on game day. It's not about looking a certain way or fitting some type of mold, which I think is a beautiful evolution of the cheer industry as a whole.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think a lot of times to that point, like well, in the past and still even today, pro cheerleaders are looked at as objects, and they're
Yeah.
just there, to entertain for for the male gaze, or like, whatever that is. But cheerleaders, and they're actually smart. They, I don't want to say actually, because that means that I hate to say that word.
Right. Yeah.
But they're smart, you know what I mean? They're smart, and they have full careers, and they are well-rounded individuals, and not just there for, just for you to look at.
Yeah.
Part of the job, but
Yeah.
there's more to it. So yeah, I love that.
Even West Types comes in and does seminars with us about how can we fuel as athletes for game day? How can we make sure during our professional work week that we're getting enough electrolytes for game day? I mean, it has shifted to where we are treated as athletes as, pro cheerleaders probably should have always been treated. But
Right.
I think the paradigm is shifting, and it's for the best, I believe.
Yeah, and just for like young women, young girls looking up to you too. It's like we got to get rid of all the eating disorders. Well, not get rid of, but it's like
Oh yeah.
that becomes a problem too. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
we do have to get rid of it. I was right the first time. Yeah, it's crazy how I remember cheering and some women didn't eat before game day. I'm just like, you're gonna pass out. That's
Isn't
not
it
good for you.
insane?
Just because they want to look good. And it's like, you will look good if you eat, and you will feel good too. Like it's crazy how the thought process was back then, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's still the thought process with some people. So
Right.
I like that it's shifting, and it's turning more into being healthy and fit, and being able to do the job as an athlete, because that's what you are.
Yeah.
um you mentioned something, I can't remember what it was. It's going to come back to me though. But I remember you said that, so you grew up doing dance and cheer, but what I remember is you have more of a cheer background, right?
A little bit. So I started dancing like as an itty bitty, probably age 2 or 3, just with tap and ballet. And I did dance they added in, jazz and musical theater as it came. My parents were really pushing me to go the musical theater route. And I think, long story short, they wanted me to either be a Radio City Rockette or like a Broadway star. So I did a lot of voice lessons, theater. And then when I got to like middle school and high school, I always was on the cheer team, both during middle school and high school. And I went to, they didn't really provide any like tumbling lessons or anything of that type at my school specifically. So my mom would always take me to Cheer Extreme for like private lessons and stuff. And I remember trying to learn like a back handspring with probably like 10-year-olds in high school, but it's okay. So yeah, I had a really like mixed background with dance. I didn't do competition dance, which again was like a source of insecurity for me when I was thinking about auditioning for pro teams, because that's something a lot of other girls have. But we all bring our own unique backgrounds and perspectives to things. And to be quite honest, I was never going to be a Radio City Rockette, unfortunately. If you haven't met me, I'm 5 feet tall. So
Wait, what is the height requirement? Like 5'7" or something
I
like
think it's super narrow. I think it's like, oh gosh, like 5, 6.5.
that? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like probably like a 2-inch range, because you can't be too tall either.
Yeah.
Wild. But 5'1" was not going to cut it.
Even the highest heels. You probably
So I still think about that when I get like long pants. I'm like, I could wear some high heels, but it still ain't gonna fix this. So.
So funny. So, okay, so you did dance, and you did kind of tumbling and all of that, and cheer. So what do you think was the hardest thing about training and getting back into it once you decided, hey, this is what I want to do? You said you didn't really dance in college. So what was the hardest part there with training?
Definitely, I say this, and I don't say it in a way to be. I understand relatively, I am young, and there are people that cheer forever and ever. I felt quote unquote old, not in the sense that
Yeah.
like age wise, but when I re-entered this world, I'd done some rec teams in college, but like nothing serious. I'm like, it has been so long since I have danced consistently on a consistent basis. Now I have a job, I have a dog I have to feed, I have rent I have to pay. When am I going to fit this in to my schedule schedule while meal prepping, while working out, while doing all the other things and keeping all the balls in the air. I feel like it was so easy when you're living on under your parents' roof or in college where it's like, all right, well, I have time between class. I'll just go and dance with these people or I'll go to this class. And then when you're like an adult with responsibilities, it gets really tricky
Mhm.
to try to schedule that time in for yourself. It is also, I've often found it hard to find classes that are at a high level as an adult. That was always a struggle both in my hometown in Raleigh and as well kind of in Charlotte, finding those adult dance classes that are going to be challenging for a pro level. And then I think the biggest thing was the consistency of it. It had just been so long, and remembering choreography is a part of my brain that just had not been tapped in a long time. And I feel like choreography retention really just comes from doing it
Mhm.
often and picking up new things all the time. And if it's not something that's been a part of your life for several years, that's hard to like retrain your brain to do that.
Mhm. Yeah. So you did say talked about your schedule being crazy before auditioning, and I know your schedule is crazy now.
Yeah.
So how do you find like how do you find how to fit everything into your busy schedule?
Yeah, I did pull back with work a little bit. I used to I'm a crazy person with work, unfortunately. Fortunately, unfortunately, work ethic is one of those things like I pride myself on, but I did usually work full days Monday through Friday and then usually a half day on Saturday mornings. I pulled back Saturdays because I actually have rehearsal usually most Saturday mornings. And then I took a half day on Fridays just to give myself space for picking up choreography before Saturday rehearsals. And to just kind of have time to breathe, do any appointments that I need to for spray tans, nails, hair, all the things, leading into like a game weekend. I don't know. I feel like it's been one of those things where I've had to start putting blocks. If I see I have a cancellation in my day, I'll just put a block on it and say I've got to like choreography time. Like I will block off my schedule when I know I need to focus on learning a dance. If there's a couple girls getting together to go over stuff before rehearsal, I'll try to get, coverage if I need to get there, get to practice early. But I think making myself more of a priority in my schedule has been a big shift I've had to make. I can't accommodate as many clients and last minute requests for schedule changes as I once was able to, but you just have to kind of shift your perspective of how you're going to arrange your life, and is cheer going to be a priority or is work going to be a priority? And this is something I've worked so hard for and waited for so long that I have to prioritize
Mhm.
um, being a top cat sometimes.
Yeah,
Often.
yeah, and I'll say that I really am inspired by your work ethic in particular because when we were training together, when I was training you, I feel like you were focused and you had your eyes on the prize and you were in it to win it basically.
Yeah.
And I just remember your schedule, and I didn't know when you slept or how you slept during the week. It was,
Yeah.
but I admired that you were just so focused and that quite frankly you were very organized.
Yeah.
So so that's good to anybody that might not, feel like they are fitting time into their schedule. Like if you can do it, I feel like anybody can do it
Yeah. I
because
say that to my clients too. Like, there's time. You just got to
Mhm.
go find it.
You got to find it, and putting it into your schedule is really important, like you said.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good point to actually make time for yourself and putting it actually on your calendar
Yeah.
because you don't miss
Yeah.
it.
And that's why working with you is so important for me. Even if we had to move things around or go late, I'm like, I will not, if I wasn't meeting you to go work on XYZ, I wouldn't have done it at home. I know myself. I wouldn't have done it on my own necessarily. Like
Yeah.
having something on my calendar, someone that I'm going to go meet up with, someone whose time I'm also taking, it
Mhm.
was such a big accountability thing for me. That's why I believe in being a trainer. I believe other people need accountability for whatever their goals are.
Mhm.
So that was something that I don't know, had I not had scheduled routine set up times with you, if I would have even stuck to it on my
Yeah.
own.
Yeah, that's so important, like, to
Yeah.
have that scheduled time. So, you mentioned, earlier about your parents wanting you to do gymnastics and, being a Rockette, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, how do you s so I don't know if however you want to answer this, but did you get family support from your parents or from your family in general? And if you did, then that's great. If not, then how did you navigate that? And then how did you, I guess on top of that, did you feel like you had to please what you please your parents by doing what they wanted to do versus doing what you wanted to do truly? And I know as a kid, it's difficult to kind of, put yourself in that mind space, but can you kind of talk about one, the family support, and then two, how you felt like, doing what you
I
want?
think it's one thing. I know a lot of people go through this where they don't have support at home, whatever that looks like for the person. I think I had mentioned my dad got really sick in 2020 and he ended up passing away in 21, which is why I didn't audition that year. I just was not in a good place for it. I think I did mention to him in 2020 when I was visiting him, like, hey, I think I'm going to audition for the Panthers. And he was like, that's really awesome. And he was supportive. My mom was a little bit more of a difficult personality. I don't know. I never felt comfortable enough to even tell her, to be honest, that it was a dream I was chasing. It was something that I was putting a lot of time and effort into. So I don't quite know how she would have felt, to be honest, because I wasn't open enough to, or confident enough in myself, I guess, at the time to really open myself up to that potential criticism. And I think that's one thing I've had to learn since making the team is compartmentalizing and protecting my peace. And sometimes that means that you don't share everything with everybody, and that's okay. If it's going to keep you focused on your goals and the track that you're on, that might just be what you have to do. Not that keeping it secret feels good, but sometimes if you know that something would, if upsetting someone with a goal of yours is going to really throw you off track and it's going to get in your head, boop, just put the walls up and then handle that once you've accomplished your goal. You can push it down the road if you need to. I did, though, I will say at the auditions of 2022, I was in a relationship with someone that was not at all supportive. And you think that you're tougher than that and that it won't get in your head, but it does. And then this year, when I auditioned, I had a lot of crazy stuff go down in my personal life. I lost someone very important in my family, like right before, like the week or two before auditions. And I was dating someone new at the time, and I said, I can't do this. I cannot go out there and learn stuff. My brain is gonna be too, like, I don't know, I can't do this. And he looked at me and he said, Ariel, you've been working with Jasmine for the last several months. You've been working out like a psycho. You've been preparing and doing all this stuff. He said, you've done the homework. Just show up.
Mhm.
And I was like, I can't. He's like, you've done it. The
Yeah.
work's already been done. Just show up. And to be quite honest, if I didn't have someone say that to me, I can't confidently say if I would have come to semifinals or not. I was that worried. And my boss, Marissa, who I was a top cat in the past, she was like, whatever you want to do, I think you should go for it, but I'm not going to push you. So it's crazy to think, like, if I didn't have that support this year, I don't know. I don't know if this would be where I'm standing right now. So
Mhm.
I think having a supportive background or a supportive family is super important, but it's not the end all be all. And you can find support from people that aren't your family. I know that there are so many women that I met in prep classes and through the Panthers have a prep clinic that you see girls back to back every year and people that are so excited to see that you came back. And you also know that all the vets that are on that team want it to happen for you too. Everyone that has had that dream realized for them wants that to happen for the next generation of girls and guys that hope to be in their spot. So I think it's important to try to find support if you don't have it from the people that you want it from. You can always find it in other people and other places. You just have to look for it.
Yeah, and like you said, it's kind of easy to sense who may support you and like who you can open up to, and then kind of stay away from the people that you're like, oh, I don't know if I should tell them what I'm doing, and I should probably just keep it to myself for a while and stay focused on what I need to do to reach this goal. So I think that's really interesting, and I think a lot of people can relate to that because being a pro cheerleader, either people love it, they're like, "Oh, wow, that's really great," or people are like, "What? You should get a real job." So like, I mean, people have real jobs outside of that anyway, but you know what I mean? Like people
Real
don't,
jobs on top of it, but
yeah,
yes.
people don't really believe in it or think it's, over sexualizing women and stuff like that, and a whole other list of issues that people are just make up in their heads. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate
Yeah.
it. So you've given some advice already,
Okay.
people that have been listening are, but what is one of the biggest pieces of advice that you would give to somebody that's wanting to audition for the team that you're on now, or another pro team?
Yeah, I think something that really changed for me from 2022 to 2023 was that not only did I ask for feedback from the coach, which our coach does open up her door at the end of every audition season for feedback. So she says, probably at the last day of finals, like, if you want to come back and if this is something you really want, send me an email. I might not get to it for a couple months, but I will send you feedback to work on for next year. So my feedback, gosh, I'm like, how do I forget so quick? I think it was definitely working on career retention. That was something that I could admittedly improve on. As I mentioned, it's hard for me to focus with all the other things going on in life. And then I actually was encouraged to reach out to vets for their feedback. And I did that as well. And it's so funny to me when I think about, I reached out to someone on my team now. She's actually a captain this year, Trika. And I said, hey, I felt kind of closer to her from West Coast and from audition things. And I said, hey, I know we're all like crazy at auditions, but is there anything you would say for me to change this year from what I did last year? And her answer was something I had not even once thought about, like at all. She was like, yeah, I feel like you were very focused, which is great, but you need to talk to other people because this is a very social team and you need to get out and talk to more people at auditions and be really personable. And I was like, what? I feel like I'm going to get like off my game and I'm going to like get out of my focus zone. And she's like, I know, but like as much as you can, try to network while you're there. Try to be out and about and talking to people. That's one of those things that like when you're in audition mode, you are so focused on what you were there to do and what your audition's going to look like. You're not thinking about that. At least I didn't. So I would definitely say reaching out to vets for feedback, reaching out to alumni. I feel like I met you, I met Shelby through the audition processes last year. And then of course, a couple of rookies on the team as well. And I asked a lot of questions and I said, what do you think about this? What do you think about this outfit? What do you think about improving this? If I, had a video, like my video audition I sent to you and to my boss, Marissa, and said like, is this good? So I think bringing as many people into your journey, especially if you have a network of qualified individuals that know what your team is looking for, bring as many people kind of into your circle as you can to ask for feedback and be open to making those changes was super transformative for me and how I showed up at auditions this year.
Yeah, that's awesome. And love Trika, one of my good friends. That's really cool. That's a really good piece of advice that she told you, because when you're so focused, sometimes you get too focused to the point where you get nervous and then you start second guessing yourself or overthinking. And sometimes that can be bad. And when you're talking to somebody else, that can take your mind off of it a little bit. It's not going to take you don't want to do it to the point where it's taking you off focus, where you're just lollygagging, talking to everybody, and you're just like over here.
Yeah,
It's just like you have to be able to kind of do both, like
right.
stay focused, but you can also talk to other people and get your mind off of things for a while. It's just like work in life, like
Yes.
you're at work and then, once 5 o'clock hits, you want to shut down your computer, you want to go socialize with your friends or something. So
Yeah.
you have to be able to do both. It's kind of like that.
Yeah. And I think too, it's one of those things talking about support. There are not going to be a lot of people outside of that room at semifinals that understand what you're going through. There's just not. And you can have a supportive partner, you can have supportive parents, you can have friends that support you, but they don't know what's going through your head and how much choreography, oh my gosh, I have to turn around by tomorrow
Mhm.
No one else is going to get you like the people in that room.
Exactly.
And that's another support network that you can create right there at auditions.
Yeah, it's a form of bonding too. It's like, I don't want to say trauma bonding, but that's the thing that's coming up into my head. But like when maybe you're struggling on a certain part and you're talking to this person, maybe they're doing the same thing and you're like, oh my gosh, me too. It's like, you can find ways to kind of mitigate and like help each other too. So you're going through it together. It's like you're not the only one in the situation that's,
Yeah,
having trouble on this part. You have
right.
somebody else that also you can relate to, and you can figure it out together. So.
Yeah.
So, what qualities would you say it takes to become a pro cheerleader? So, just in general, what kind of person do you think you have to be? And this could be qualities that you have or qualities that you see in other people.
Yeah, I think I don't think my journey is super unique in the fact that it required a lot of determination and a lot of focus. Not everyone is lucky enough to make it on their first time. Most of us aren't, especially for highly competitive teams. I would say determination. And the one thing that has been drilled, at least for us, post making the team is compartmentalization. Being able to say, okay, I have a full game day ahead. I only have one dance to focus on, and that is pregame. That's all I am doing right now. And being able to kind of block out and think through, like, I need to focus on where my feet are right here, right now. I didn't realize that that's something that I did during auditions. But looking back, it took a lot of compartmentalization. I don't know how it was done for me personally. But it is a skill that I think would help with anyone's audition process because you have the prelims routine already in your head, but you're there at semifinals and you have to learn two in the next 2 days and perform it on Sunday. Also at finals for us, they do a media question that can be subjective, objective. It can have a right or wrong answer. It can have no right or wrong answer. And they're going to ask you that before you do your final dance with you and another person. So that's another aspect where like you have to just be focused on I'm doing this right now. Everything else doesn't exist. And then when you move on to the next step, you're able to go and do that. And I think too, the other thing that I would say would be, I don't know if there's an exact quality or word for it, but being a good teammate. I am clearly have a little bit of competitiveness in me, but there's a way that you can funnel that in a way that lifts everybody up. Say a rising tide lifts all ships. And I feel like that has been so true within our team dynamic. I know if you follow me on Instagram, I've been trying to get some tumbling skills back from my high school days, but it's because one of my teammates started whipping out aerials on the sideline. I'm like, okay, all right, bet. So
Motivating.
it's like that, like getting fired up by other people's successes and then encouraging that in other people and letting that light a fire in you. Like I said, I don't know if there's an exact word for it, but I feel like that is something that I can foresee making my career as a pro cheerleader continue to just evolve and change and level up from year to year.
Yeah. I think that's the word, is level up.
Yeah.
You see your teammates doing things and you're getting motivated by that and you want to, you know, be a good teammate and also contribute to the team by leveling up and doing, what you need to do and just being a better dancer and all around, just all around dancer in general. So I
Yeah.
think that's great. So I just want to know, I'm just curious, what brought you to work with me in particular, and what was your biggest takeaway from the experience? So we did one-on-ones for everybody that's listening. I did privates with Ariel, and I think we did about 12 classes or 12 sessions or something like that, 12 to 16. But and I saw your growth throughout those 12 sessions. And I just am curious, what is the reason why you decided to work with me opposed to anyone else? And yeah, what was that biggest takeaway?
Yeah, I think for me, I wanted someone that had been on my dream team. The only team I've ever really auditioned for has been Top Cats, and you at the time I think were like one season retired at the time. So and you had worked under the same coach, which is another plus, the same coach that I was going to audition for. So having someone that had lived the experience that I was after was number one for me. Two, I knew you had a lot of great technical dance experience. You did dance in college at Chapel Hill, and had a lot of intricate dance backgrounds that, you know, I hadn't focused on in a hot second. So that was important for me as well. And then I also just wanted to be able to, quite honestly, like pick your brain, be like, what is a priority, what is not? Because we can all say, oh my gosh, my kicks are only to my nose and they need to be to my eyes, and you're someone that I can be like, is that really that important? And you can be like, yeah, or nah, not for this team. I think I asked you, I was like, I need to do flips and I need to do turns in second, and you're like, well, we can try. But I think the biggest priority would be XYZ. So having someone that knows the team that you're auditioning for and can kind of help you take this overwhelm of like, I need to do all the things, and be like, let's play to your strengths and let's get this to be the final package, was something really important for me. And I also just wanted someone to be able to be like, before I submit this video, would you submit it? Like,
Yeah.
And someone, quite honestly, like in my network that knows what the team might be looking for, was super important to me, and having an accountability partner that could best inform me as to how to show up that year for auditions.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Last question before we get into some rapid fire.
Okay.
What do you think set you apart for the audition the second time around? What do you think it was that set you apart?
Ooh, that's tough. I don't really think about that often. I'd like to say, I feel like I don't even want to say I came with more confidence this year, because just life threw me a big curveball right before. But I felt as though I had tried to stay involved with the team as much as I could between the no that I had gotten last year and auditions this next year. I did all year long, not just after auditions. And when the local TV show aired or whatever, I stayed on the Instagram. I stayed congratulating the girls. I commented on every Instagram post. I tried to make friends with people that did get a spot on the team that year. Like I said, I tried to network as much as I could with Top Cat alumni during that time. And I feel as though when I came into that audition space, I had kept up relationships with people I met last year. I went in with my training from you and having put myself in some group classes to where I wasn't as overwhelmed by audition day, because I'd put myself in kind of like mock situations leading up to that point. So I felt like when I went into auditions this year, I was more comfortable, for sure. I wasn't second guessing my outfit, which I have a whole story about that from last year too. I forgot about that. But I wasn't second guessing my outfit, my look, whatever. I was able to kind of show up, say hey to people that I hadn't seen in a year, and kind of go through it a little more relaxed. You're never fully relaxed at any point, so do not get me wrong. But, you know, it's one of those things where you're like, all right, I've done everything in my power up to this point. Just got to show it off. And that's all I'm here to do. And whatever the answer is, it's what's meant to be. And it's all for the right reasons. And if it's not my year, it's not my year. But my gosh, I am proud of the amount of effort I put in this year.
Yeah. And that's and I'm proud of you too, by the way. But that's all that matters. Like, you want to be able to look at yourself at the end of the day, no matter what. If you make the team or you don't make the team, you put in everything that you could have to get you in the best spot, you know, best spot possible. And like you said, everything happens for a reason. Like, it's all going to work out for your good. I think that was the quote that you said was your favorite quote, right? So you just have to trust the process. It can be a long process, but you know, there's a reason why things happen. So
I remember having a complete breakdown in front of you, and I was like, what if I did all this and it was for nothing? And you're like,
I remember.
Yeah. And I was like, what if it's all for nothing? And you're like, it's not though. And that's not up to you to decide. Right. Like, if you make the team or not, that's not for you. It's what the work that you put in over the last however many months worth it.
We don't control the outcome.
Well, the outcome.
we control what we put in, but we can't control the outcome. Like we have
Yeah.
no way of knowing. If you pray to a God up above, they control it. But yeah, like you said, that's super important. You can control how you feel about the work that you did going up and putting in beforehand. So
Yeah.
awesome. Do you have anything else that you want to share before we get into some rapid fire?
I guess not. Well, I do because you know what? Some people get embarrassed at how auditions go, and I had two embarrassing stories from that year from 2022. One were your safety pins. I did have a wardrobe malfunction at semifinals, so if it happens to you, I feel you. It is awful, but wear your safety pins on your garments and make sure that you practice in your dance attire, your audition attire before audition day. I had, but things still went wrong. So just, make sure you're snug. And then for us, we had questions for finals, and I did not answer my question correct that year. So I would just say, like, if stuff happens at auditions, just it happens to us all. I had some pretty embarrassing experiences. So you just had to kind of say, well, I won't do that again next year.
Hey, you live and you learn, and
Yep.
probably not the only one. People,
No,
the
but
slightest thing
still,
is embarrassing, but yeah.
it feels like it's your whole world when you're in it.
Oh,
So
for sure. Yeah, yeah, for sure. No, good advice. Definitely have those safety pins.
safety pin.
Definitely. Safety pin that top, girl.
Uh-huh.
Awesome. Okay, so well, actually, I wanted to ask one more question.
Okay.
You kind of touched on like how you like being on the team this year, but what would you say is the best part about being a top cat
Oh gosh.
from your experience?
Selfishly, I say game day. Game day is where you are on that field with your teammates, and it is just so exciting. I pinch myself probably every time I'm out there because I'm like, is this real? It just is so awe-inspiring, and being on that field with a full stadium, you feel so small in the best way. But I would also say second to that is having a team full of people that are sharing that experience with you. And it's such a rare thing because, to be quite honest, if you think about all the NFL teams that have a cheer team and then how many people are on those teams, there is a very small amount of people that will ever have that experience with you and that will ever understand that feeling and understand that adrenaline that you get when the lights come on and you go out for a game. Mm-hmm. So having a network of teammates, friends that also love that rush and that understand that with you is just, it's so special.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You're in a secret club.
Huh.
It's like you're in like a special little club of people.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. Not a lot of people get that experience.
Yeah.
Awesome. No, thanks for sharing that. So, okay, so we're gonna get into some rapid fire. And it's just a fun little game where I say something pro cheer dance related, and you just have to spit out whatever comes to mind.
Okay.
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 So, and I didn't give these questions to her beforehand, everyone. So it's just from the top. Okay, so number one, I'm gonna start at the bottom. Okay. What is your best memory from pro cheer or dance so far?
Monday Night Football coming out for our pregame. We had all the fireworks and pyrotechnics that night, and it was a full stadium on a Monday night. There were NFL film crews everywhere, and it was just, the energy was next level.
National television. Was it national television, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Wow. Yes. I love
Oh,
these stadium games.
I feel like all of us were literally shaking in our boots, but
Yeah.
we were so excited.
Yes. Oh my God.
Different.
Yep. Okay. Favorite dance movie?
Dance movie. Okay, this really doesn't count, but I would say High School Musical.
That's a dance movie for sure.
It's not like Bring It On, but like,
Right.
I like High School Musical. I used to be the little.
There's a we're all in this together. There's a lot of dancing in that. So I would say it's a dance
All the
movie.
High School Musicals really bring it. What was it? Kenny Ortega was the choreographer on all those.
Yes, that's
Yes,
a name that brings me back to my childhood. But
right?
yes,
He was so huge at the time. That was
he
yeah,
was.
too. But yeah,
Yeah, he was the choreographer. Yep.
yeah.
Wow, it makes me want to watch those movies.
Oh my gosh, they were so good.
It was, yeah, so much hype around those.
hmm
All right, your favorite dance song?
This is just because it's at the top of my brain. This week we were learning for delicious. So,
Ooh, very delicious.
oh my gosh, it's I can't tell it so much, but it's cute. Yeah.
Let's wait. Maybe I'll see that dance.
Mm. And then you'll find out.
Yes. Okay. Your favorite music video?
Ooh.
Like music videos aren't really a big thing these days. Because you remember the days of TRL and yeah, 106 in Park and all like the music video shows, you know what I mean? But they still
Yeah,
do them, but I feel like I don't really
I
see them.
honestly cannot think of a music video that comes to my mind. Is that bad?
No, I don't really look at music videos
Oh,
these days. Or if you think
yeah.
about one like when you're growing up, maybe.
I really didn't watch music videos. I was doing a Peloton run the other day though, and someone was describing the Britney Spears one with the snake. That sounds cool.
I'm a slave for you. I love that one.
Yeah.
Love it. I listened to that the other day. Favorite choreographer, if you have one.
Chandelier, but my coach.
Yeah. Your favorite place you visited in your dance career?
Ooh. Back when I was in college, I worked for an event company that did like corporate events and like pop up like flash mobs and stuff. And there was this sounds so crazy. I have forgotten about this. There was a Golden Corral corporate event in Nashville, and we did like a mashup of like a bunch of country songs. Yeah, anyway, we went to Nashville. It was like
Okay.
a conference, and we did like this whole country mashup and like these little fringe outfits. They were very cute.
I've never been to Nashville and I want to go so bad.
Yeah.
This seems like a good time. All right, your favorite dance move currently?
Oh gosh. Well, I've been known for a high kick on the sideline, so I would just say some high kicks for sure.
Yes, and I must say, okay, so sometimes I'm at the games, and I must say, you bring the energy, Ariel.
Yeah.
Maybe the coach will listen to this, but I definitely give you some snaps when I've seen you on the sideline. So,
Thank you.
um, yes, keep the high kicks coming. And I love the herkies too.
Thank you.
Your favorite hype song before a game?
Um, not not PG, but Game Day by Boulevard.
Game Day by Boulevard. I don't think I've heard that one.
I think you have. It's a Marissa West signature, I feel like.
Really? Okay. I probably heard it then because I've.
Like the one with the band, like the da 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 da.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I never knew the name of it, but I know that song.
Yeah. Game Day. Yeah.
Yeah. Your favorite dancer or performer of all time?
Ooh. Mm, 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 mm. That's a good question. No one's popping up. Favorite dancer? I definitely have some. Oh, you know what? I would say Whitney Carson on Dancing with the Stars. I love her. I don't know why. I just love her.
That name sounds familiar.
Really like big blonde hair,
Yeah.
ballroom dancer. I could just watch her forever.
Yeah. Ballroom dancers are so amazing. The way that they like
Her body
move their
moves.
bodies. Yeah, it's so smooth.
Yeah.
Your favorite go-to post-game meal or snack?
I usually save either like a brownie or a chocolate chip cookie from like lunch or dinner and have that afterwards. I will say though, I'd be lying if I didn't say I like love a McDouble every once in a while after a
Oh,
hard game.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you burnt all those calories in a game. Why not? Like,
I love McDouble. Oh my gosh. Just thinking about it. But
yeah.
I only let myself have them. I am still a trainer, so clients it's a while. But like, oh, after a long game, those fries, cheese. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Every once in a while is fine. You can't do that every day.
No, but oh, when you have it, oh, it's so good. So good.
Got my mouth watering.
I know, right?
Your favorite way to energize before a game?
Um, that's an interesting question. I've had a problem, some might say, with energy drinks in the past. I like for work would sometimes like crush like 2 or 3 in a day. So not good, don't recommend it. I've pulled back a lot on my caffeine intake. I'll usually just have my 2 cups of coffee in the morning. But on game days only, I will allow myself a Celsius. That's what
Okay.
I'll do. But I've limited myself now since I got a little too crazy to get so
Below Celsius.
so good.
Your favorite dance related memory that comes to mind?
Um, this one, oh gosh, it might make me cry. I remember just being on stage for dance recitals, for plays, and everything. And I could always, both my parents wore glasses. And I remember I would always look out when I was doing whatever and probably not paying attention to whatever I'm supposed to be doing. But I would try to look for the reflection of their glasses from the stage lights out in the stands or out in the auditorium or wherever when I was growing up. So that would probably be like one of my core memories. And oh gosh, yeah, it can make me cry just thinking about it.
Oh, I love that. It's like that's definitely one of those memories where it's like very specific to you and you just like people might not understand it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just you see the reflection of the glasses and it's like it's etched in
I'm
your
like,
mind
oh, there they
forever.
are. I see them. They're out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so amazing. I love that. Okay, and then last one is your favorite style of dance.
Probably it's a cross between musical theater and pom. I do best with like sharp, controlled, on the beat
Hmm.
movements. I'm working on my hip hop groove, but I can be a little stiff.
I love
So
that.
yeah, anything that is stiff and it's supposed to be stiff, I'm great at, but and I enjoy doing. But I'm working on loosening up, so we're working on it.
So they actually didn't Top Cats do like a musical theater type dance for auditions this year?
So yeah, we did. It was Ease on Down the Road, and I let me tell you, lived for it. Like, it wasn't going to make the field, but it was from the Wiz, the Ease on Down
Yeah.
the Road. Yeah. Oh, it was so good. I
I was like, that's up your alley, right?
Yeah, that was like one of those things that I was so excited to like learn at auditions because I was like, oh, this one, the other few, I don't know, but this one I'm going to crush. Yeah,
I
it
love that.
always feels good when you have one that you're like, this is my jam. And
Yeah.
last year it was the one with the revolving splits on the floor.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Rock and roll one. But see, everyone else, like this year, whenever it comes up, they're like, oh gosh, I hate that one. I'm like, oh, that's my favorite. It's so like hard, stiff, boom,
I don't,
boom,
yeah.
boom. Oh,
I really like that dance.
I love it
There's
too.
always a curveball at auditions. That's something,
Always.
yes, that I've noticed. Always a curveball.
Yeah.
One year I remember I think we had to do like a catch hold turn and people were freaking out. And I was fresh out of college and I was just like, I was on dance team and I was like, dang, I have that. It's a no-brainer. I was like, I love this. But everyone
Yeah.
was freaking out. It's like, oh my gosh. So it's always a curveball.
Yeah. I have actually heard about that year in the locker room from people that auditioned that year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have heard horror stories from it.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm just speaking for me. It wasn't as bad as people make
Yeah.
it. So that's just, hey, just be prepared for anything.
Weird.
Prepared for anything. Well, thanks so much, Ariel. This was really fun. I really appreciate you joining us today and
Absolutely.
sharing your story. And congratulations again on everything and
You.
good luck on everything to come. I know you're probably in the middle of the season right now. It's probably like
Yeah.
mid-season.
Yeah. This next game will be our halfway point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I am so proud of you and I'm glad that you're enjoying everything and just keep it up, girl.
Thank you so
Uh,
much. And thank you for helping me along the way as well.
of course.